Welcome back to Modern Malinois podcast number 5. Today's topic is going to be...
Wait, have you seen these like jail cell high security crates?
Yes, I have actually.
Hardcore. What do you think about them?
I don't use them because I actually want my dogs to be able to settle. I think we have made them too much of the norm that a working dog needs these high security crates, needs to be, confined and is always trying to get out and doesn't know how to relax. If that has happened to somebody, there's no judgment. If you, especially, you've rescued a dog or you have brought a dog into your house that has behavioral issues, you have to do what you have to do to make them safe. But the idea that you're going to get a dog from a reputable breeder and somehow that is going to be the norm, or it's normal or okay that you're going to need a crate that the dog can't break out of, there is something wrong in that picture. And no, it's not because your dog is super high drive. All of my dogs are just in regular, as you know, crates that we buy at the regular pet supermarket or whatever, at the... in town. They're just those black wire crates. They don't chew on the crates. They don't try to break out of them. I almost never even latch the bottom latch. They have the 1 latch, 2 latch, and because they're not trying to break out. And I kind of like that if they really, really needed to, my house is on fire, something crazy was happening that I feel like they would come out. The only time that I even latch both latches is when Alexandra is in heat, and I know hormones can make animals do crazy things, so there's just no reason to take that chance. But yeah, the idea that dogs being neurotic is a good thing is just a detrimental and a sad thing for the state of working dogs.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's why I don't use them. Pennies and pigtails.
These aren't pigtails. These are braids.
Those are pigtails.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. Can I touch one?
Yeah. Thank you for asking.
Pigtails.
Should we talk about how the other day when Magnus's crate went open and he didn't come out?
Oh yeah.
So a good example of this crate, So a good example of how dogs should be in their crates, working dogs especially, is the other day Magnus's crate just randomly opened. And what did he do? He stayed in there. He was just standing there and he was looking at us and he was like, "So this is open." And we're like, "Okay."
Yeah, I just got new crates, and the latch has to be up much higher than the other brand, and I guess I didn't latch it all the way, and it was just open. He was just like, "Can I come out? Can I come out?" And he didn't, so I decided to just let him out since he was being such a good boy, and we did some Malinois things, and then...
Malinois time.
Malinois.
Magnus.
Another big issue is that this idea that working dogs need to be in their crates to build drive or to build the desire to work with me. If I have to deprive my dogs of social time in order to get them to want to be around me, 1, do I really have a good relationship with my dog in the first place? 2, is this really even a dog that's meant to be a working dog? If letting a dog out on a regular basis, allowing them to run around, be free, play with each other, wrestle, chew on toys, roam around the house, go on long pack walks, do all these things, if that is too much for your dog to be able to handle and still have enough energy to put in great work sessions, then you probably don't have a working dog. You've probably got a dog that's the right breed, but unfortunately does not have the genetics.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about dog mental health?
The mental health of the dog.
So this is a perfect topic to journey into dog mental health. I feel like it's a topic that's not addressed a lot, but it's important for these athlete dogs, basically working dogs, to have a good mental state.
I put more effort into their recovery than I do into their training. You have to pick your days, just like no athlete. This whole no days off mentality I feel like it was just propagated by people who want to force people into a state of overtraining, into a state where their dogs are not learning, are not improving, and it isn't a mindset that any professional athlete uses, that any top-level dog trainer uses, because as our bodies are designed biologically, we need rest and recovery. We don't get stronger in the gym. You create the detriment, the trauma to the muscle inside the gym, but it's the time outside that repairs the muscle and improves the strength, improves the hypertrophy. And the same goes for the mind, the same goes for the body. If we are not working to relax, working to recover through, we do pack walks, just like letting two dogs in a room wrestle each other for 45 minutes is fantastic. That is going to, while it may tire the body out a little bit, it's going to help them to relax. It's going to help them to mentally recover, because play is one of the most powerful tools we have to just like relax, to not be so worried about, oh my gosh, am I getting my needs met? When a dog is in play, nothing else matters. They're in that moment. And so we are focusing on that heavily, especially with puppies. I want to make sure that my puppies can relax. I want to make sure that my puppies are feeling like their needs are met, like they're having fun. Like all of their training is just an extension of this play and this fun. If anything, I overdo the focus on recovery and their mental health, because these are Malinois. They are gonna be active. They are gonna be crazy, and we know they're gonna have those times. So I am working extremely hard to facilitate them enjoying recovery time.
So another question I have. Another question I have is, why is it that all these trainers on TikTok who are super vocal about using like aversive tools like e-collars or prong collars have these dogs that are supposed to be like the best working dogs, are like the most trainable and all that?
It didn't make any sense, does it? You would think the people who are working with dogs that are bred to be biddable or want to work or have a drive, a desire to access some kind of reward like a high pre-drive, a high food drive, they should be the ones using the least amount of aversives.
Exactly.
And yet they somehow think that because I'm doing intense work, we do bite work, so I need to have this collar, I need to have this slip collar, I need to choke the dog off the bite. And it's so tiring. It's such a trope at this point that, the better your dog, the less you should be needing to use aversives and negative reinforcement and positive punishment. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
So we have an exciting announcement about Thang. The first person to put the correct number of Thang's nipples in the comments gets a shout out on our next podcast.
Oh, okay. To count them nipples. Another issue with these working dog trainers saying that they need aversives, or, we do intense work, so, we have to have this e-collar, this choke collar, this pinch collar, whatever, to get the dog to listen, to come off the bite, or to, control their drive, is that a lot of these dogs were selectively bred over generations to be the ones that could survive that kind of punishment and that kind of compulsion. So they literally took the dogs that you could beat the hell out of, and they would still come back for more, and that's the ones they bred. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, especially, and more so going back, there was no positive reinforcement. It was just yank and crank. I'm going to force you to do what I want, and you're going to listen. Otherwise, I'm just going to beat the hell out of you with either a stick, with a choke collar, with something. And so the dogs that you saw, in bite sports and pretty much any kind of sport it was all compulsion training. And the ones that were bred, the ones that they said, oh, this is an amazing dog, were the ones that you could just, beat the hell out of. And yet they would come back for more. They would still be happy. They would still be willing to train. They wouldn't be forced into learned helplessness. And they said, oh man, this dog's got a lot of heart. But what happens is, like, now we have, especially with the Malinois, I mean, this is classic Belgian Malinois, the dogs that were just brutalized and forced into these obedience measures, forced into, like, have this crazy dog who can bite like they're a maniac, but can still take an extreme beating to get them off the bite. But then that doesn't make them want to bite less. They maybe even want to bite more. And so we have these dogs that can survive the punishment. And so all these trainers think that because I have a dog that it works well on, therefore it must be an effective training measure. But these are an extremely selected breed. Even within the breed, it has been the ones that couldn't handle it were culled out. And so the idea that means that correctives aversion is an appropriate or a good thing in training is just completely specious. It's very fallacious. But what they don't realize is that generations of culling dogs who could take a beating and still come back for more has created a dog that positive reinforcement works extraordinarily well. Extraordinarily well. The lengths that these dogs will go to still work with you, to be your friend, to be a partner, is insane. You take the dog who still is coming back to interact with you and train with you, that has been bred to be able to take that beating, and you show it kindness. You show it, that you are not there to dominate it, that you are there to work with it, to be their friend, to be their partner. And the amount of hard work, the amount of, do anything for you that they will show is just heartwarming. And it makes it sad because we have these dogs that, yes, they will put up with those beatings, but that doesn't make it the most effective way. It doesn't make it the best way. And to me, people who will not come into the 21st century of positive reinforcement are, at the worst, lazy, and at the best, lazy, and at the worst are just, borderline dog abusers. So that's my long take on the absurdity of working dog trainers being the ones that are promoting aversives the most.
Yeah. Don't beat your dog, be your dog's friend.
You heard it here. Hot take. You're never going to hear that anywhere.
No, never. We actually invented it. Wild card here. One last question. If you could sell your dog to any person ever, they could be long dead, who would it be and why?
Oh, it would which dog?
Any of you, either one of the dogs you have or future puppies.
Yeah, so if I were to sell Ulrich right now, we'll just say Ulrich, since he's my oldest Mal, I would most definitely sell him to Goku.
And
because they would have so much fun. All they would care about is getting stronger, training higher, and I would just love to see Ulrich as a super Malinois. Oh man, that blonde hair, super Malinois level 4, where all of his fur turns black and is hard as stone. That would be freaking awesome.
Hell yeah. Shooting
out power beams as he barks. His bark would destroy planets. His grip strength would eventually be so powerful that it could warp the space-time continuum.
Swallow up planets.
Boom. I think that's all the time we have. Cheers.